There it is. Welcome. This is the SMX Insider podcast mashup. I'm Jason Wygant. This is Jason Thomas. You are the fans who are here to see a winner-take-all, although that's not true because second place gets $500,000. That's not nothing. And third place gets $250,000. But bottom line is
only $500,000.
Yes,
only.
exactly. But look, we know how it works with you, with us, all of our shows. Whoever does not win, we will trash on our shows next week. So that's why it's winner take all.
But Sexton just wanted the trophy.
Apparently.
But he still gets a trophy,
yes.
though. So the whole thing is blown. Like, his whole ruse is blown. It's not winner take all. You still get an awesome trophy. It's not winner take all the million. You still get $500K. So the jig is up.
But what you lose is us and these gentlemen who will be on stage in a moment, we will be trashing whoever did not come through when it mattered in a Game 7 must-win moment. That's what you lose.
Oh, we're just going to hammer on them about that?
That's what sports is.
Okay.
The team that loses the Super Bowl or Game 7 of a playoff, what's wrong? Why did they lose?
I'm going to tell you from a guy who would have been like 13th tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would have happily been the first loser. Happily.
That's not how the game is played. The worst team in football is the one that loses the Super Bowl, even though they're actually the second best team.
I don't know what that says about me, but it's not great.
Sorry. So that's Jason, and I'm Jason, and we're going to welcome our first other podcaster. He has done some other things. He's done some other things in his life. But
is it special guest?
He is a co-host. He is a co-host from the Title 24 podcast. Let's welcome none other than Ricky Carmichael to the stage. Oh, yeah. There it is. Yeah. We're going to bring you all the way to the end. We don't want to get too close. Look, I just said what's on the line here. It's winner take all. It's not winner take all technically because second place gets a lot of money also. But what it is the reputation. You came up big when it mattered most. And in all sports, unfortunately, history is written by the winners. That's what's on the line.
Well, luckily, and I hated being in this position. So, like 2006, I hated winner-take-all situations.
Yeah.
I was spoiled that I was able to lock up the championships with several races to go, or at least one race to go, or go into the last race and not have to be in a necessarily must situation. And it was the worst week of my life for the most part. Like, I hated it. I hated the feeling. I hated being in that position. And I was mad at myself for putting myself in that position. And better these guys than myself. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch to basically settle the score. That's what I'm looking for. All this talk and whether it's complaining or everybody's positive, everything's on the table. And whoever comes out here tomorrow is the best in the world.
See, this is what's brilliant. We had a press conference back then in 2006 in Las Vegas for this big finale, and you and Chad and James did your best job of saying it was a great week, everything's fine, everything's normal.
It was.
And everyone said the same thing on this stage today. Do you think it actually was normal for them this week? They're all saying, hey, you win it, you lose it, whatever happens, happens. You said you were actually more miserable than you let on. What about these boys?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel miserable. Just like mentally, I was just like, come on, let's go. But I was going into a place, so like Bubba was faster than me. Chad Reed had always beaten me in Las Vegas, so I had every reason to think like, the odds are against me winning. So the week of prep, I mean, I had my track as close as possible to Las Vegas-like conditions. And going into the race, I actually felt really, really good about my riding. And I'm like, I'm the best that I can be, and I've put myself in a great position. I can't do anything more. However it plays out is how it's going to play out. And it ended up working out well. But it's hard to tell with these guys, as we know, being in the broadcast side of things. You don't know how their week was because they're not always honest with you. So at the end of the day, I think tomorrow who is the winner, it's going to come down to who is able, I believe, to manage situations like this mentally and who is able to perform when things aren't perfect. Because a lot of times they're not, whether it's the bike, whether it's the track condition, whether it's a bad start, adversity that you're going to be faced with in situations. And at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to.
I always felt like, and I wasn't in the situation where there was as much on the line as obviously you had to deal with, but in my own little world of, racing in Europe for whatever championship I was chasing at the time, it's one of those things where whatever you're doing, you wake up in the morning, you're making it's always in the back of your mind. Like, that's what I think it is for them, because I felt touches of that where it's like it's like a constant thought. You can be watching a movie and you find yourself daydreaming about the weekend. What's going to happen this weekend? What's going to go on? So that's what I think when you see these guys after the race tomorrow, especially the winner, you get this big exhale and like just adrenaline dump of like they can just let all that go. Like all the thought, all the it's over one way or another. There is like a release in that for these guys, and you can see it. Like, and that's kind of what I was asking Chase Sexton about today in the press conference. Is last year I saw it with both Hunter and Jet in Charlotte, and I think I saw it a little bit with Chase in Charlotte. Is like you have all this expectation and nerves about, okay, I can't screw up. I got to win this Pro Motocross Championship, and then it's really hard to get up again. Like it's hard to find that intensity and that edge that it takes to come in and win right away again. And I think they just come in flat. You hear that in other sports. We just didn't have any intensity. We're flat today, whatever. I think that is kind of what happens, and I think Chase got it a little bit back last weekend in that second moto. He needs to bring that again tomorrow if he wants any chance, because watching qualifying or just free practice today, Jet Lawrence was out there with a purpose. So those guys better bring it tomorrow.
They're going to have to, because this is the last race of the SMX World Championship. And like you guys have been saying, it's all or nothing. And again, at the end of the day, it's as simple as this. The rider that is the best at managing everything that you just talked about is the guy who's going to win. And it seems harder than it is, but it's really, the mindset's that simple.
You guys excited about what's going to go down tomorrow? You guys excited about that? That's
you guys
rad.
good?
Yeah.
I can tell you this much. I'm happy to be back in Vegas for the finales.
Yeah.
I love this place.
That's good.
This is going to be good.
We're going to bring Vegas's most important motocross fan. I mean, most guys live in California or Florida, so he can claim this territory for himself. And also the biggest fan of the winner-take-all triple points format that is
biggest
SMX.
Proponent of it, yes.
Biggest,
he is
absolute advocate of this.
I think he was actually a part of formatting that triple point
yes,
system for this
must
round.
Be. Let's welcome Las Vegas's own from the Pulp MX show, Steve Matthes. Come on out.
Special guest.
Special guest. We got 3 hosts here. Well, Steve, this is what you wanted. You love the triple points.
Love
and
it.
we got a winner-take-all
Love
scenario, baby. Who would have thunk it?
Listen, I don't want to be
Yes, you do.
You do.
I don't want to be in charge of this damn race if Deegs has a crash or a bike issue, loses this title, and all the Deeg Nation
it's going to make
is
for great
looking
TV.
for
No,
someone.
but he already laid it out for you in the press conference today. He said, listen, as well as I've been riding, I have to perform
he
tomorrow.
did say, I got to be on
if
point.
I don't perform tomorrow,
You're right.
the way it is, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's going to lose the title, and his fans are going to light these pits on fire.
But he laid it. He basically he knows what he needs to do.
Have you tried to reason with his fans? It doesn't matter. These tires are going to be burning.
I tried to reason with yours when we didn't like each other.
Yeah.
It didn't work out good.
How many people listen to RC's podcast? How many people? A lot of people? I think, wasn't there another guy with you? Like some other racer? Like where's he at?
I don't know. He's probably fishing somewhere. I should have raced a few more years. I'm out here trying to build a brand. Hanging out with
so
you
you're
guys,
here,
my co-host.
getting the subs, getting the listens, getting the clicks, and where's your co-host at?
Living the life,
Dude,
somewhere.
on a tuna boat.
Honestly, I tried to bring him out here. I'm like, dude, these people want to see you. You're America's favorite retired racer.
Yeah, he's just crapping on you people. That's what Ryan Villapolo's doing, everybody. He's crapping on you guys. It's not right.
Stamp that.
It's
Okay,
not right.
for the
It's not
record.
right. Yeah.
Wow, for the record.
I feel bad, man.
Yep. He's
I
on a
feel
tuna
bad.
boat somewhere.
Yeah.
On a tuna boat.
Listen, my number is 762. Can we do 4 762 pod?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah,
That's
let's do
right.
it.
I love it.
I thought it was the number of titles. It's 2 and 4, or
It's
is
two.
it?
It's both. It's a
both.
double
Incredible.
entendre.
That was by happenstance. The 2 and the 4.
Yeah.
The number was by this the amount of titles. And then I'm looking. I'm like, yeah, straight up. It was all about let's add up how many titles we have, and we're like, then we're going on Google. We're like making sure like there's no like
Checking their
title
own
24. It doesn't offend anybody.
Well, there's a show that comes out on
Right?
Thursday called SMX Insider 0. And that's
Yeah,
Ouija.
there's
That's Ouija.
no titles.
You guys do a good job, though. You guys do a good job. But yeah, the 2 and the 4 was by
Oh,
happenstance.
I thought it was your racing numbers. I didn't know. But hold on. RV gets really mad at me because I don't count the regional titles as anything. Like, I mean, they don't really
I
count.
don't.
Okay.
You count your Manitoba crap though.
Yeah, I do.
He does,
So you're
yes.
not going to count regional Supercross.
They're
He
not
could have
national
4.
championships.
Oh,
They're
God.
not national
So it'd be
championships.
19, because you got 4,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he has
Or
15 or so.
provincial.
Provincial titles.
Hey,
Listen,
okay.
I just
Yeah.
before we can bring our next guest up here, I'm from Vegas. Let's bring the finals back here, everybody. Let's do it. Las Vegas, here we go.
I agree.
Allegiant Stadium. Allegiant Stadium.
Now
Let's
we're talking. I've never been there. It looks awesome.
Listen, it's the Raiders. They dominate there. They win every week.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Dude,
fantastic.
could you imagine if we had this in the Sphere? How pumped this guy would be?
Oh, dude.
Huh?
Yeah.
Listen,
I think if you
Can
get
they
these
fit it
people
in there?
excited enough, that should do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Has
forget all
anybody
the
been
other
here?
logistics.
Has anybody
That
been to the
should do
Sphere?
it.
Has anybody
This
been to the
is-
Sphere? Dude, the Sphere. How good is it?
Hey, this is how bad I want to check out the Sphere, and I can't stand the Eagles.
And you're
right?
going.
My dad gives me all the time. He's like, "Dude, how do you not like the Eagles?"
You're like that cab driver
all
on
their
Big
songs
Lebowski.
sound the same.
Wasn't that Lebowski?
The cab driver on Big
No,
Lebowski.
but no. The times didn't work out, and I'm like, dang, I want
So you're not in. You're not in for the Eagles.
I'm not in
That
for
is
the
not
Eagles.
a peaceful, easy feeling. I'll tell you
No.
that. Yeah.
Don't go to Malibu with that attitude.
Yeah, don't go to Malibu.
That's right.
Let's bring up our next guest. This is from the Gypsy Tales podcast and YouTube show. Let's welcome Jace McAlpine to the stage.
Yeah, Jace.
Yeah, Jace. Yep.
Has he been to Sphere?
I don't know, actually. Have you?
I wish I was at the Sphere last weekend, actually, but I had to go to Supercross. I
Who-
was,
who-
UFC last
UFC
weekend.
Oh,
last
that's
weekend,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
UFC in the Sphere?
Yeah, it looked amazing.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I guess like the only guy that doesn't know that, right? It was all over social.
No. Two things I'm not paying either attention
Yeah,
to: the Sphere
yeah.
or what's going on
Yeah.
in the Sphere. Yes.
Because
Jace,
that costs money. The Sphere costs money.
I keep tempting you. You're like, you think it's so good,
Dude.
just buy my ticket, and I'll be more than glad
This
to check
guy,
it out.
we were just talking with Jace before you got here about, he was high-fiving us of how much money he sent spending his wife and daughter to Liverpool for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It was cheaper for him to do that
Oh, yeah.
than
Yeah.
it was to get a
Yeah.
domestic ticket for
Yep,
Taylor.
yeah. I'm not paying the full price Taylor Swift
So if
tickets.
commentary doesn't work, mate, future in accounting.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love
Jace, welcome back. You've been here with us every one of these SMX rounds on the podcast Mashup, but
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here,
yeah,
Vegas.
you guys,
Yes,
Gypsy
sir.
Tales fans.
Yes.
Let's go, Gypsy
yes,
gang.
yes.
Here's what I like about your show. I saw your episode. You recently had the 7 Deuce Deuce on there. Speaking of numbers,
Yep.
Adam Entignap, and you were basically like, when I first saw what SMX was supposed to be, I was not on board. But now that I've seen it, I'm on board. You've gone from like one end all the way to the other once you like saw it happen in person.
Yeah, I'm down to be wrong. Happy to admit when I was wrong, but I just think as a fan of motocross and supercross, and I actually had past champion Ben Townley call me this week and say the exact same thing. He's like, I know the boys are probably pretty tired, but as a fan on my couch at home in New Zealand, just to keep watching supercross as we get on later into the year is a pretty good thing. So I think between that, and then there was 3 dudes at the press conference last week that have a chance of winning $1 million this weekend, and then a couple of younger dudes that are fighting for 500 grand. So as far as the riders making a bit more money, the fans, we get some more races. Look, pretty positive as far as I'm concerned.
We had, speaking of SMX Insider, not us, our bosses got Hunter Lawrence to come on our show this week. And JT,
In spite of us, really.
Yeah, in spite of us. He's probably like, is it the show with those guys? And you asked a tough question. At the very end, you're like, yeah, I know you and your brother get along and all this, and the title could stay in the Lawrence family. Everybody's happy. We get the money either way. But then you asked the real question at the end.
Yeah, like last lap. Are you going to put him over a berm? Like, where is the line? Right?
That's a fair question.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
he struggled to answer it. Like, he's like, it's uncomfortable. I don't know what either of us would do in that situation. Like, yes, you're right about its family and this and that, but this is a huge deal.
Does anyone remember-
I think he cleans him out.
You remember Bercy, Paris Supercross last year?
Jet hooked him up.
Might have the answer there. I feel like Jet
Steve,
will.
what do you think? You think if Hunter's second and Jet's right in front of him and it's teed up perfectly,
Yeah, put him
you
over
think
the berm.
he doesn't take the shot?
Yeah, no, you take a shot, man. You look, there's been plenty of wins for both of the brothers. They're going to win a lot more races as it goes on, and if there's an opening, take it. Just don't Vince freeze them.
Right. I don't exactly.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't
make
think
it-
I don't ever think he would do anything maliciously and,
Yeah.
and hurt him.
Yeah,
right?
I think they both
it would
know.
Be try to like rub him off the track or something
remember when
like
Ricky-
that. Maybe
Ricky-
that's what he was contemplating.
I wonder if they've
Don't
had
do what
the
Ricky did to
conversation.
you.
Which time?
When he was lapping you, Unadilla, and he just
Oh,
drifted
yeah.
wide.
Pushed
and
me.
took
What
it-
I do?
Yeah.
Took me to like
you guys. Okay.
the border of
Yeah.
the border of New York.
Yeah, you were out in Syracuse.
Did I do it on purpose?
Yes. Yes, and then you got in a wreck leaving the track and were smashing your car with a hammer, and my dad was laughing so hard because he was so mad about this.
I got in a wreck?
Yeah, you rear-ended somebody in a gas station just wailing away on your bumper with a hammer trying to fix it.
Really?
Yeah. My dad is like
Meanwhile,
the greatest
this
part of my
guy
dad's
was
day.
best friends with every one of my competitors.
That was by happenstance.
We forgot to mention that, right? He was Chad Reed's best friend. Everyone.
Well, not by design. I can say that. Not by design. Like, Ferry, I don't know where that came from. That was you and Timmy were super tight, too. That kind of came out of nowhere. The Chad
Remember,
thing.
we went to his house to go practice.
I know.
Yeah.
A little bit of Tortelli, too. A little bit of Tortelli.
Yeah, and but for me, Tortelli was like the nicest guy in the world, right?
Yeah.
There should have been.
Dude,
that
he's
was
a
just
nice guy, yeah.
both of you were going for the same thing. It's gonna be hard when two people like Chad. Yes,
Dude, I don't remember
Chad is
that.
a very
The
very
rental car?
When I ran him wide, or the
Oh,
rental
yeah,
car.
yeah, I do.
Hey, you were lapping him, dude. I mean, you've lapped.
No, it was not.
Oh, was it?
No,
Oh, I thought
no.
I was lapping you.
I was getting run off the track.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. Yeah, a whole shot of the moto.
You
Ricky
do
just
not belong out here.
beat it.
Yeah.
Know your place, son.
Yeah. He blocks out all Unadilla. He just
Yeah.
blocks out
Yeah,
all
yeah.
Unadilla memories.
Yes.
Back to these guys battling. Okay, yeah, so that's interesting. We just did a podcast this week, actually, with Brett Metcalf. You guys might remember Brett Metcalf, Australian. Yep. And he was teammates at Ryan Dungey for a while. He's like, we never spoke. And he's like, but I don't have a problem with that because back then, that's the way it was. There wasn't this camaraderie. It's just a different era. And he's like, I know that Ricky and Chad were like that. So Dunge and Villapoto.
Yeah, we weren't teammates, though.
Yeah, but he's like, Dunge did his thing, I did my thing. That was normal back then. It is so different now. I mean, we want to pitch this Jet versus Chase like a rivalry. And I know deep down they want to beat each other bad, but we have not ever seen them even slip up once and trash talk or mean mug. They high five after the race. They're doing everything they can to try to keep it respectful, at least when the cameras are on. That's what I see. Have you noticed that? It's a lot different.
I mean, yeah, 100%. It's a different world. They talk to each other. We didn't talk to each other.
Exactly.
Let's bring somebody out that you would have cleaned each other out. No doubt
let's
about
just do it. Yes.
Bring them out.
Let's do it. Let's bring up from the Bubba's World podcast, none other than James Stewart.
Yeah. There he is.
Yep.
Bigger
There it
applause
is.
than I got.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There
There
it is.
we go.
There it is.
It's
There we
Vegas
go.
season,
Yeah.
baby.
I thought we took care of all that.
That looked like Unadilla 05 right there.
Another Unadilla.
No, we're not going back down that road.
So that's what we were talking about. I'm sure you were listening back there. It is. I think the fans want to believe that there's this like Jet and Chase must hate each other. They keep not giving us that. Now we got a showdown battle tomorrow, and they were still being cool with each other today. It's got to be difficult in their situation, but they're trying their best to at least publicly be respectful of each other.
Yeah, they know the kids are watching at home. you
Okay.
know? I think now, I mean, everything lives on TV. So you got to, I mean, at the end of the day, I hated Chad, but I always, I respected him. And, I think these guys, whether they hate each other or not, I mean, clearly I don't think they do, but they respect each other.
I don't think it's a love fest, though. Like,
Yeah.
their deep down feelings, like, those
Yeah.
guys are competitors. But
Can't
it's a
be.
different world we live in, right? Like, we
Yeah.
were all blown away when Eli and Roxon were sharing a jet on the way to a race. And those things, like, it's a
Strange.
different
Yeah.
time now. But deep down, it's not all fun and games. Like, these guys want to go beat each other. They're just, on the surface, it's just a
Are
different
they
world
all?
we live in.
Are they all making too much money to where it just like doesn't really matter?
These guys are making money.
We had a conversation. I mean, for where James and I were, and you speak up if I'm speaking on your behalf. I don't want to do that, but like, it wasn't about the money for us. Like 2006, it was like about pride.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't thinking, oh my God, I want to beat James and Chad so I can win more money. We're making plenty of money. It was really about the pride and wanting your hard work to pay off for that.
I thought you guys wanted to be the
championship,
best.
Straight
The
up.
best.
Yeah,
Like, when
yeah.
I looked at you guys, you could
100
see it. You guys wanted to be the best.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to be careful on, because I do think those guys care, and I don't think they're racing for the money. I don't think they make too much money. I mean, just because they don't.
But more like they make too much to be like too worried about the million. Like we're making a big deal about $1 million as it would go in our bank account, But like maybe to them it's like it's not like that big a deal. Like I just want to win.
I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, we've seen Jet crash, we've seen Chase crash. I mean, these guys go out there and they race, and so I don't. For me, when I watch them, like they don't have to hate each other to say like whether they're trying or not, whether they care. I mean. they want the money. They want the money.
They want the money,
Simple
okay.
as that. Like, if you see $1,000 sitting on the side of the street, you're gonna be like, you know what? I don't really need it, or you're gonna pick it up. And so for these guys, they go out and race.
We should pick it up. We should pick it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
I'm all
I'll
over
pick it
it.
up too.
Oh,
yeah.
100.
We just
Thank
run,
you.
we
Yeah.
run
Yeah.
all
We
of
burn
us over.
$1,000 worth of gas
Yeah.
and turn around and get the $1,000.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they're out there. It is about pride.
I think a little bit for Chase too. Like, yes, he wants the money. Make no mistake about it. He's not leading with that. But I think for Chase, it is about beating Jet. I think straight up,
It should be.
He wants to beat Jet. Yes, he wants to beat Hunter. That's what he needs to do to win the championship. But I think deep down, he feels like, okay, yes, Hunter has his days, but I can beat Hunter. Jet has been a problem, and for him to go out, winner take all on the biggest stage and go out, and that is what it's for me. That is what it is about for Chase. He's talking about the trophy. He's talking about other things. But deep down, if you made him take some sort of lie detector test or a truth serum, I want to beat Jet Lawrence is, I think, the first thing that would come out of his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I'd agree with that.
But, I
Yeah.
mean, when you talk about whether these guys care, I mean, you saw Jet Lawrence on the podium last weekend? Like, you saw that
fired
face?
up.
He was pissed.
He was,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
a little unhappy.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
right there shows you that it's more than just the money. You know, it's they actually care. And I mean, they know Chase is a problem. You let him out front, like, he was gone.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody can do anything. So I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. But, I mean, all these dudes, they
New
care.
new motor setting for Chase this week, so happy about that. Yeah.
I think so. I was trying to kind of watch this all unfold last weekend, and Jet multiple times as he was trying to get around Hunter and get to the front, he kept looking over at Chase to see where he was, like marking him, right? And he got in a second. I saw him mark one more time, and then Chase kept extending it and extending it. And that is not a fun thing to have happen for anybody who's ever
No.
raced. Doesn't have to be for the win. Anybody that you really want to beat, you just see them slowly pull away, gets to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I think that was a lot of the reason Jet was so pissed off.
So JS and I had this conversation off air last week, and we were talking like, what's hard for me, and I'm trying to learn it every single weekend, is how one guy can go dominate one moto, and then the next moto he'll be third or fourth. It was so much different in our day. So I'm like, there is no shot if he would have gotten to second that he would have just laid up for the most part, especially Supercross. You know, like it wasn't happening.
You see that kind of
It's crazy.
in like MotoGP too. You know, like you have like Valentino Rossi, and then you have Casey Stokes. Like you have these like dominant guys, and it just seems like the generation now, it's so much like chopping and changing between, you know, lead guys. Like I wonder whether it's just across racing in general on two wheels. It's like the level has just gotten so high across the board these
I think
days.
these guys, though, they were the start, and certainly, I mean, they're two badasses, right? Talented all the time, but man, back in the day, like they had their own compounds, watered, trainers, mom, dad. They didn't ride with anybody else. Nobody knew what they were doing. I mean, you kicked Yogi out. Like
Yeah, the gap
Well,
was.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. You kicked Yogi out.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I tell you who did. This is too hot for
Okay.
TV, by the way.
Okay. Push power here, baby.
Okay.
Look what you've done, Steve.
It wasn't me.
Okay, but anyways, point being, like,
He's about to explain.
Tell
Or
him.
is
Oh,
it
I
just
thought
okay?
he said it was
It
too hot
wasn't-
for
it
TV.
wasn't that
We're
hot.
live streaming. It's fine.
Oh,
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
no.
Put him on the spot.
Okay,
All right. Oh,
that's
okay,
that's why I was moving on. He didn't want to
Okay.
answer.
Oh,
okay.
too hot for
Back
TV.
to what you guys were doing. You changed the game with your talent and your work ethic, but also your programs, right? Riding at these compounds, doing things on your own. Everyone else was kind of like guessing a little bit. Well, here's what I got to do. Here's what I need to do.
I don't know. I just think these guys are a lot better.
Well, they were, but then when you add in their structured program and their
Yeah, I
But
think
like,
compounds,
Steve's on to
but
something.
like Tedesco wasn't just winging it. You know what I mean? Like he had trainers and he had tracks and he had all the things in place. But to me, that's the difference is the gaps between.
Yeah,
the
but now
top
everyone
and fifth
has it.
is tighter.
Yeah, but
these
to-
guys they start 54th.
Yeah.
they're still getting second.
No, but to
you know?
me, so that's why we see one guy get fourth one moto, one guy get first. The edge is so
Yeah.
small now because everyone's bikes are great. We got EFI, we got all the mapping, we got everything else. They all got compounds. They've all been riding together. They all know the bicycle stuff to do. And so the edge is like, hey, I got the start, you didn't. That's it. That's the difference today. And where these guys,
Perfect
Yeah.
example of that is the person who didn't want, Yogi riding with me.
Oh, he's going.
Anyone
Can't let
riding
it
with
go.
me.
You gotta get some
And
of
we
that.
can't have anyone there riding with
Right.
you. Everything's
Yeah.
top secret. Now has a full-blown facility with 10 people riding.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The entire
Weird, huh?
Yamaha 250 team is
How's
working
it
with
that-
your
why
mom.
did- How come I burned a relationship? I'm like, I don't think this is gonna go good, dude. I've ridden at this guy's track for several years now.
Yeah.
I've known him forever. I was in the dude's wedding.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about him. And I mean that respectfully.
Yeah, of course.
I'm okay. I'm
Right.
racing some other people. Nope. I'm like, it ain't gonna go good, dude, and it didn't go
And
good.
James
Yeah.
kicked Chiz out. I mean, Chiz was getting
No.
close.
He
No,
was
I'm
getting
kidding.
close.
I'm joking. I'm
Yeah,
joking.
but no, like
It's Chiz. Come on.
Chiz. But it's like it is what it is, and that's where like times
Yeah.
change. Like
Yeah.
he
But you
wouldn't
think
ride
about-
with anybody. I wouldn't ride with any. I didn't want to help someone that I was trying to beat.
And then Chad was an hour away, all by himself. Grinding
Oh, yeah,
away,
yeah,
right?
Oh no, I was getting pummeled
Yeah, well,
every
it was-
single
yeah.
day.
Yeah, you were
and beaten
Chiz.
into
You were
submission.
Chiz.
I was.
Yeah,
yes.
like so Alden Baker now has like a bunch of dudes all riding in his place. Your mom, they're riding at your Star bought your facility. All these kids are riding. Your mom's still there.
Yeah,
like
it's just
these
different.
things were-
Everybody
yes.
rides together,
Yeah.
so I think, where's the individuality?
Yeah.
But if you look at like Tomac, how many championships he's won, he
Yeah.
kind of does his own
Yeah,
thing.
he's
Yeah,
old.
man.
He's old school.
The
yeah.
Lawrences were kind of doing their own thing before they got 83.
Yeah.
I mean, you did your own thing. Dungy did his own thing. RV, for the most part, did his own thing. He wasn't riding with guys that he was going to battle for the win on the weekend.
And there's not 10, 12 dudes that are there every single
I
week.
do think though, and I hate saying this on record because other riders will get pissed about it, but it's what I believe in my
Dude,
heart.
they're already mad at you.
That's
You're a
fine. It's
TV
okay.
guy. They don't like you,
But
just
this-
like they don't like me.
But this is what I believe in my heart, that I think Jet can overcome all the other stuff. Like the gaps, he starts 14th, doesn't matter, he's
See,
going to the
now,
front.
now
Like,
Chase isn't going to like him.
I know, and that's not how I mean it. But
Jet's
I,
guy,
like,
yeah.
But my job is to analyze
You're
what I
so
see.
done,
and
dude.
That's fine. And it's okay. But to be truthful,
I'm giving him a hard
to be
time.
truthful, you have to be willing to say that. And that's what I see. I see him as a difference maker. He can come through like you guys did. Put him in 23rd. He's going to get into the top 3 by the end of the moto. And I don't see that in other places. Like Tomac had it. He's in the twilight of his career. He can do it, just not all the time. Like, I think Jet is that next guy where it's like, it kind of doesn't matter where he starts. You know he's going to come.
I think it's just... sorry, Widge.
We're gonna get to fan questions, but go ahead. Yeah.
I think it's just not obvious. I've actually had this conversation with Dazzy about you. I feel like they grew up in the James Stewart era, right? And it was either win by a million or crash and lose, right? And it's like they just took that data, and I think Jet has that speed. Like you can see... I mean, I remember Southwick, I can't remember what year it was, but there was like 4 corners off the start where we were literally watching like James Stewart speed. And then once he got in front, he stopped. So then you it's an illusion. Like you don't think he has that speed for an entire motor. Where you're like, he can't do that the whole time. But I think he really can. And
He
this
has it.
is to
He
your
has it,
point,
though.
you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he could do that for 30 minutes, but he might crash in the process. And I think they're so programmed to not do that based off years of watching the fastest guy in the world.
He's
Sorry,
really-
James.
I mean, you could have backed it down a little
You
bit.
could have backed it down. Was it? Hey,
No, don't do that. Then I would have never beat him.
I remember one of my favorite James, what are you doing stories? Freestone. One year in Freestone.
Oh,
You're-
my God.
You're out by 20 seconds, and there's 2 singles, and you're all by yourself, and all of a sudden one lap you're like, you know what? I'm gonna try to double those.
Yeah. No, I mean,
It
I
had
did.
to be
What
more
are you
fun.
doing?
It had to be more
I
fun
did.
to race the way you rode,
Hey,
right?
but you remembered it.
Yeah, I do.
You remembered it.
I
So-
do. I'm just
Legends
like,
never die.
what is
Yeah.
this dude doing?
Yeah. No, I mean it's.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's one narrative that everybody kind of thinks is just. I mean, sometimes when you're fast, you're just fast. Like no.
JT?
Can't relate.
But I was always I rode the way I rode. Like I had a harder time being out front, way out front. That's usually when I crash. It was
Yeah.
never about like this speed thing. I'm just going way too fast, but. Yeah, just kind of going off your topic of what you guys saying with these guys. I think the biggest thing that we see is the fear. Like, I think there was something about guys not riding with Ricky. I mean, Ricky riding by himself. I didn't know him, so he came to the races. I didn't know this dude, so it was like a fear. I think now everybody rides together, so there's no fear. And Eli was kind of the last person that had that, and everybody was like, "Man, I wonder what he's doing in Colorado."
He had J-Mart for a little bit, and that's about
it.
Yeah.
That part's gone, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right about Jet.
It's crazy. This year in a Supercross race, he clanked the rhythm and lost, I don't know, a couple seconds to, I think, Kenny. Kenny was leading. And, dude, he just decided, I got to get back up there. And in 3 turns,
he has it.
He's right on Kenny's rear wheel. He's like, oh, my bad.
He doesn't like to show anyone that it's there, but when he needs it, when he's good, he's not, I don't think he's 100%, or he's getting back there, but when he's firing all cylinders and he needs it, it's something special to watch.
And you're doing it at the Ken Roxon, which is pretty crazy.
I'm just saying,
the Ken Roxon.
Yeah.
We got to get the fan questions here. Go ahead.
Fan questions.
Hey guys, my name is Justin from Oregon. I just have a question for Steve. I was gonna ask.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Forget these guys.
Hey, this is your city.
Slide over, player. Slide over. I'm out of here.
The first 2 rounds of these podcast mashups, Jason and I just sort of sit here.
I expected that, though, if I'm honest.
I expected more
Had
from
to
you
share the
guys,
glory.
honestly. Like,
All right.
I just had to ask, are you gonna wear the infamous Alpine Stars jacket for the finals tomorrow?
I should do that. That did get me on race day live, but I might melt. You know, it's kind of hot, but I should wear it. Yes.
Do it for the fans.
isn't that breach of your fly racing contract?
No, we're fine. Oh, we're not?
Are we?
He was like, "Oh, speak for yourself."
Thought we were
Until
fine.
you said wear it on RDL, then Fly got their backup.
Yeah. No,
Trying to put a saddle on a wild Bronco, like you just choose your battles wisely.
Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you for thinking about that. And it makes these guys upset that the jacket got me on race day live, but it really did.
Yeah, did nothing. And you're at the first question, which really upsets me more than anything. So please, let's find another, hopefully not for Matthes question. We'll never hear the end of that.
For it.
Yeah.
Please be Steve.
All right, guys, this question's for everybody. I want to know, you got the top contenders, been talking about them. What about the wild cards? None of these guys are underdogs, but what about the guys like Malcolm Stewart, who I'm obviously pulling for, Ken Roxon? Do you think we'll see a new winner here at Vegas? Can't hold anything back.
Malcolm was
New winner.
quickest.
I
Malcolm
think it'd
was
be
quickest today.
I think
James.
it'd be cool to see one of those guys. I think Malcolm's going to do great next year. Like he's had a full year under his belt. I was super bummed when he got hurt last year. I was like, because he was so close. Like I feel like you have these peaks that you get to that kind of take your professional career to the next level, and he was like right on the cusp of it.
Yeah.
And but maybe tomorrow night for a first time like winner. Might be tough because of the circumstances, but it's not impossible.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
was
I
about
think
to say
sometimes?
that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna kind of echo what he just said at the end. I think it's gonna be hard because you got 3 guys out there going for a championship, which is rare in that moment. So these guys, those 3 guys, they're gonna be firing on all cylinders. So you're gonna have to beat those guys at their best. With $1 million on the line, it's gonna be hard. So.
It's weird how that always happens. Like you think about this racing, NASCAR race, the guys they're locked in. Right, and everybody else is kind of like they feel 31st race of the year. Those guys are every ounce they have is dedicated tomorrow. It's really hard to come in from the outside and beat them.
Do you feel like if one of the 2 guys, like outside of the 3 guys, I think it would be Eli would probably have the next best chance, and then it would be Kenny. I actually expected a little more out of Kenny.
Running a paddle tire?
He's all in on that thing.
Paddle tire?
It's going to work better here than it did. It's going to work better here than it did last week.
Come on,
for sure.
They're going to run that thing.
Oh yeah,
They ran it last week, man.
Last week was like racing on I-15.
Yeah.
This week at least has some loose dirt.
It was nice in the booth.
Yeah, if they could run that last
65.
weekend, they could run it anywhere.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere.
I'd like to see Phil win. Who wants to see Phil win out there?
Yeah.
Let's
also,
go.
sorry, just want to say sorry to hear about your dad, Dean, by the way.
So just imagine that.
Phil.
The millions on the line, a winner take all, but they can't get to Phil.
Nope.
Like if they could just catch Phil, they could put those points. And
I mean, I'd like to see it.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Phil's last race, we have so many parties this weekend. I hope next
that has
year.
to be the big one.
Yeah, I hope next year. Eli Tomac said next year will be his last year.
Yeah.
Will we even get a 10th of the pageantry for Tomac as we are for Phil?
I was waiting for him to come out in the press conference today.
Oh, Phil again.
Again.
He is on race day live. He is on race day live.
Well, that's okay. But like he's been in these press conferences all year. I was waiting like behind door number 3 they were going to lift it.
We got another. Go ahead.
My name's Mota Harris. I'm from Florida. If Chase falls on the start, do you think we'll see the ride he did at Hangtown and come from last to first?
That'd be sweet.
That'd make for good TV.
That would be awesome, dude. I don't know. Like that's the thing. Who knows? Like
I'll just say it. I would say no.
No.
I don't think there's enough.
God,
I
Dude,
don't think
hey,
you can make up
now
enough time on
Chase-
this
now-
track.
Blanket.
I didn't
No,
mean to. We don't
I
mean to
don't
crush your
think
dreams.
that this
kid.
track.
Crap on Chase Day. I missed the memo.
You think he does?
I don't think anybody would. I mean, there's no rider in this field. Bill.
Hammer him now. Go in on him now.
No, it's Stu. I'm not going to do that.
The 30 plus 2, his fitness,
Yeah.
and a rough outdoor
It's
track.
rough. It's hot.
I don't
like,
think
all those things
I think
are a
Chase
factor.
didn't even expect that, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Stu could say anything, and you're like, yep.
Yeah, no one's
I
gonna
can't
disagree.
say anything. I know that's a problem.
It's
True.
Stu.
That's true. It would be awesome. It would be awesome. Don't
Yeah,
get us
it would be.
Don't get us wrong.
I
That'd be
love
awesome.
seeing rides like
I don't
that.
think he wants to find out either.
Yes.
I don't think he wants to try.
Look, here's the thing. It's not about 40th to first in this case. Like, even 4th to first. That is the big problem. We keep saying how they're so close, and it's becoming start cross. He's not even close to the Lawrences on starts the majority of the year. Now it's 2 motos. Maybe tomorrow's different. It's kind of a little bit of roulette.
New motor setting?
Yeah, they said they got a new motor setting for the start, but that is a major problem.
Well, Steve, you were multi-race winner at the professional level, factory mechanic.
Just one.
Is the engine going to complement the chassis on Chase's bike?
Well, they did it specifically for starts, is what I heard. So they've got some settings for some starts that they know that's a weakness, right?
I thought it was pretty telling for him in that formal of a setting in the press conference to basically say, yeah, I just started behind a Honda every time all year. Like you could sense the frustration coming out of him in that moment. So he knows what the problem is. I just don't know if he can do anything about it yet, right? Like maybe the offseason, maybe they find something, but mid-season, right now, like you can't tell me they haven't been trying to figure this out all year.
It's wild that we have, like, it's not very often that we have in motocross and supercross a bike that's this much better at that thing. Like, you very rarely see that. Like, you see that in other disciplines where it's like, you have to be
Road
on a
racing,
Ducati.
right?
Or,
Yeah.
you know, if you're not on a Ducati, you can't win. Where it's like, if you're not on a Honda, you almost can't get a whole
I think it's a cyclical thing. Right?
Do you ever think? I hate talking scenarios like this, but since we're in this kind of
That's what we're here
do
for.
do it anyways. Like, do you ever think that there's a doubt in Chase's mind that he wishes he was still on a Honda? If
Oh, yeah.
If
I
the
think
Lawrence
so.
brothers weren't under that truck, maybe.
Do you think Chase should drop his bars onto his gas tank? Do you think that is what he's missing?
Roll them back. Get that
Yeah, like,
RC band,
do you-
that pro taper.
Is that possible?
maybe it needs to be.
Okay.
I do think
honest
though.
question. Go for
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
No,
Please
honest question. Do you guys think Chase looks better this year or last year?
Last year.
Like, not overall.
23 Supercross?
Hard to,
He was
hard
better
to
than-
say.
Yep.
Oh,
it's
you're
pretty good.
KTM guy though.
The KTM homer.
This kid's
We
bought
like
and
it.
paid for.
I will tell you this. I don't remember one time in 2024 when I watched him on a speed level and went, like, my
Yeah,
jaw
fair-
dropped.
fair
Supercross 23,
Yeah.
there were several times I watched
Yeah.
Chase in qualifying and hit the whoops and
Yeah.
doing. I'm like, oh, wow.
He's
I didn't-
blistering.
I'm
Okay,
not doing that
but-
this year.
But
He
then you
also
go to-
tossed it away more on a
100%.
Honda. Yeah,
100%.
like,
But that raw speed of the edge,
yeah, it was
I have not seen it.
Stu-like.
It
But you
was.
go to
Man, I'm
outdoors.
gonna get over on you if you keep
What?
talking. I'm hometown, whatever. Like, let it go. Let it go.
See?
Every one of these shows spins negative on you.
think-
No,
I
no,
think-
negative.
but I think
I meant the speed was Stu-like. No, not the,
No. Keep going with where you're going.
Yeah, no,
Stay
I'm
with
still
where you're going.
No, I meant the speed.
It's
I-
speed
You
like
say
till
tuck
hit
the front
ground,
one
like,
more
you know,
time,
like,
Steve.
Like, hey,
I mean, I
It's
think
what
there are
Stu-like.
things,
Yeah.
certain qualities that he has improved on this year for
Yeah.
sure. But it's more, it has to be the overall package when you're going against a guy like Jet Lawrence. Dude, he's a phenom.
Yeah.
He's just that guy. And, you know, it's like I was having a conversation with someone at Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha last year. And it's like, dude, could you imagine how many races we would have won if we weren't racing Jet? And you start putting things into perspective. And so no one wants to lose, but you're also not racing a scrub. And if you're racing maybe one of the best guys that has ever done it, ever, I mean, the numbers eventually will tell the tale on that. But, dude, you can't beat yourself up about not winning if he turns out how good he should turn out.
That's one thing I wonder with Chase. It's like, can you still enjoy your career, the process of it? Because it'll be done. One day you'll retire and you're not going to be racing anymore. And it's like, does he just not enjoy his career because he was like just the tiniest bit off Jet? Or is there a way that, you need to go through and like enjoy it. Be like, man, maybe that
that's
guy
a
is
tough
just.
question.
He got 2 of those titles though, right? He's going to have a shot at a third one tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that is
That's
a
a big
big
difference.
thing. You think about Bradshaw, you think about Kevin Windham, you think about Tim Ferry. They didn't get that title, right? Like they had
Settle
their chance.
down. It's all right.
Wyndham-
It's all right.
I can't.
But like,
I can't.
you talk about like what makes that final step where they can look back
Better
and say,
mechanic,
I checked all the
probably.
boxes. Wow. See, you set yourself up for this. Talk about Stu like
I
that.
meant his speed. I did.
I can't.
I don't believe you.
Like I don't want to speak for Chase, but I know how I would feel. Like I needed that victory in 2006. As many championships as I won leading up to that, I needed to be in a situation where I had a winner take all for the most part to get the job done, just for that small little peace of mind, like I didn't win on some technicality. And a great example of that is I never really beat James in a Supercross race if he didn't crash. So I thought about that all the time. I didn't let it, overcome all of my thoughts, but I'm like, I want to beat the dude head to head, straight up, in a race, in Supercross, without him crashing, just to get a peace of mind for myself and no one else. So I feel like Chase is that type of competitor, and I feel if he could come out here tomorrow and beat Jet, that would be some validation and should make him feel really
Has
good.
to be
You know what I do like about Chase though
Right.
is his interviews, man. He lays it out there. You
No,
guys
he-
were guarded. You guys were more guarded. You know.
He's really turned it on in the
he
last
will
couple
just
months,
tell you,
man.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. To the point where he's getting in
So
trouble.
much,
point where
so
you, like,
much
do a
they
great
took the
interview and then
post down.
Take it down.
Yeah.
Hey,
down.
I
Title 24
respect
didn't-
that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they should take the post down ever. Wear it.
Makes it worse.
I think.
Tear it
Well,
down.
I think
Yeah.
it does for sure.
But-
But like, it's great that you've finally got a guy that's comfortable to speak his mind. And he said in a press conference, like, we don't get a say. It's like, yeah, you do. You guys just never say anything.
Yeah. No, I like the way Chase is like lays it all out there.
He does.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm John from right here in Vegas as well. I had a question for Ricky and James based on the conversation you were having earlier. Do you think that maybe your careers would have been impacted had you actually had the chance to train together?
Ooh.
That is a great question.
Wow.
That would be great. Yeah.
I can never see a world that would ever happen. So
They had the chance. They just decided
Yeah,
not
it's
to
such a
all the time.
hypothetical
Yeah.
question.
Dude,
It's-
imagine a day at either the Ponderosa or the Goat Farm
I
where you
think,
guys were
I think
just
at
like
the, I think
hanging
at the
right
end of the day, like with someone as
Like did Pete
as
Fox?
tough a
Yeah.
competitors as we were, and how much we wanted to win, and we'd do anything to win, someone would probably get hurt at the practice track.
Yeah.
Sadly enough.
we didn't even do photo shoots.
They would've
together,
never
I'm
done it.
saying,
They
like-
had, they had separate gear guys.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I was a
split
little
the
older
whole
than you, that's the only
organization
reason.
up.
Yeah.
But no, again, it's just different ages. Like, I mean, it's nothing wrong with this era,
Nope.
but it wasn't even like that. And plus, like, we didn't grow up like he was at the end of his career as I was coming up, so we were kind of in different eras, even though we got the best of each other. So, yeah, I'm sure they would have been impacted, but it would probably just never happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it would have never
Yeah,
happened.
it
Was there a
would.
time when you were an amateur and Ricky, you were Fox? You guys Fox obviously.
Yeah.
Was there a time where you guys rode?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh,
So,
of
yeah, so
course.
when
Like
you're-
when he was younger and
Yeah.
I was 125 intermediate,
Okay.
maybe my first year pro, like he'd come up for
There
a
was
week.
some things, okay.
His dad would
Yeah.
bring him up and he'd stay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a history of it. I'd go to his, go ahead and tell him what I used to do
Yeah.
at your motorhome.
Every morning coming over for pancakes and food. Like, yeah, we used to come hang out. Like, I mean,
so
I looked
I
up
never
to
knew
this
that.
dude.
Did you guys know that?
You never saw the Terra Firma video?
Yeah,
We're
I
at us
just
hanging out?
thought that was a
What is-
Fox thing. They just staged it.
No, he used to
Yes.
sneak over because
My mom.
she wouldn't let him eat, so he would come over there and like, you know.
Come get Miss Sonia would always have some like treats, some Reese cups, and I'd go
Oh,
and
little boy. Yeah.
Miss Sonia would be like, "Here you go." I'm like, "Thank you." I'm like,
Ricky's like,
"Don't
"Thank
tell
you,
my
thank
mom."
Oh, so good. I don't know if you know this, but at Daytona, you had your kids there in Daytona, and then I think you stepped out to use the restroom real quick, and it was just us hanging out with your kids, and they're pretty young. So I respect you so much for this, to let them feel at ease. You're like, hey, is your grandma cook some pancakes for you? I used to sneak into the motorhome when I was your age and have her pancakes all the time. And that made them feel so much more comfortable, like, oh, wait, you know my grandmother that well?
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you guys had been that tight back then. That was cool.
Yeah.
We didn't have
Yeah.
social media and stuff back
Yeah.
then, so no
Yeah.
one
That
it
was
was
really
nice.
cool.
It was private.
Yeah, that's
We go
probably
back-
changing too.
Poor D.D. Burns, though. She got called out, terra firma.
Dude.
Yeah.
How many, like, is there ever a race that you go to very often to where someone doesn't mention that video?
Yeah, and the worst part, I didn't even have her last name right. So, yeah. But she's still my girl. She's still my girl. Yeah, still my girl.
I love it.
We got more questions from the fans out here. I mean, we're going to bench race about
You
tomorrow.
guys we're
Okay.
light duty tonight.
No, we're
Come
good.
on, this is Vegas. Oh, there you go.
Yep, Vegas. Hi, Steve, another Vegas local. Very glad to have it back to Vegas. I have a question. I know last weekend the dirt was a big topic. What do you guys think about the track tonight and the dirt, specifically how it compared to last weekend?
In my talks, riders are stoked. I mean, it's going to be
Really?
hard packed. Yeah, but I talked to, and even Phil.
That is a good
Dude,
barometer.
are
If
you
he's happy,
I'm
that's
serious.
good.
Come on.
I talked to Christian. I talked to Kenny. I talked to Chiz. I talked to Phil.
Did you talk to Deegan?
Didn't talk to Diggs. Didn't make it.
Shocker.
Yeah, but no, everybody's giving this place positive review. They're having fun out there. Tough to pass, but the dirt's okay, and the track is fun. The layout's good. So
Hey, they're shell shocked from last week.
I do think we got spoiled at Concord with
That
the
was
dirt.
nice.
That was
Sure.
that
Yeah.
was nice.
Yeah.
I
It
think
was
that
really
track
good.
really
Did you guys
raced well.
notice? Did you guys notice Deegan last weekend saying how good the track was all week? The whole weekend, he was saying how good the dirt was and how good the track was. It wasn't. Do you think that he's playing mind games on that level to where he's like trying to say that?
That's what this dude used to
That's
say.
that's a thing.
Oh my God!
Dude, I love this
Oh
dirt.
man, on
No,
second
I already-
moto, this track's so rough, ain't it? They'd be like, oh, it's just yeah, second moto. Yeah. So probably hanging out in the goat farm up there. That's what they do.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Is there like some commandments on the inside of one of the barns that's just like
What you say.
just lays it all out?
Yeah. Yeah. So the riders seem to like it.
Yeah,
What do you got?
everybody I talked to likes it. They like the layout.
That's
the mood,
cool.
The mood is definitely
That's
more positive
perfect.
than it was last week. So
You know what I've learned, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, is I feel like if the riders like it, for some reason it races better. Even if we don't like it, if they like it, I think the mood is better, the vibe is better, and they're more inclined to, not necessarily take risks, but
Yeah.
be a little more
No,
aggressive.
I agree. That sets the tone for the whole event. That you
Yeah.
can control anything else you want, but if the riders are down, it changes everything.
yeah, they started going 2-4-4 right here,
Yeah, I
and like
saw
guys
that.
were having fun doing that. So yeah, it seems like a positive event.
Yep.
Track wise.
Viva Las Vegas, baby.
Yeah, what's better than the Sphere? This
Can you?
track.
So,
That's it.
going back to the points, do you guys like the triple points? Do you like how it plays out to where basically whoever wins the championship? You like that?
See, Steve?
Yeah, it's great,
We
Steve.
got one lady here saying yeah. That's
No,
it.
they were all shaking their heads. They're scared of you.
Listen, I'd be scared if Deegs loses this thing. His fans are burning these
He
pits down.
already laid it out there for
That's
everyone
fine.
and said, "Dude, I've been good."
Hey,
Okay.
it's the same
Triple
for everyone.
points.
It's the same
Okay.
points for
All right.
everyone.
He
Cool,
did.
man.
He said it.
Would you like it?
Yeah, exactly.
Not against you, no. No, I wouldn't because number one, it's Supercross. It didn't have whoops, so that'd be like okay.
Yeah, you're a little better there.
Little better. But it would be hard in a 3-race format like that to beat you for sure. You are hard to beat all the time, but especially like not 17 races. I wouldn't have to weigh think about it. Well, I know he's going to toss it at least 2 or 3 times.
Man,
So-
You know,
God
you-
dang.
Okay, no, listen. I'm
no,
gonna give-
see, I'm giving up my secrets
mean
of
that.
how you and I have had that strategy. I'm like, well, I can't beat him, so he's going to have to crash.
James, it's 2024.
Watch what you say. I promise.
This
Man.
class.
It's
This class.
2024.
It's my favorite part of this podcast.
When
is
we
James
walk the
hating
track,
us.
when people walk the track in 2024, you've been retired for God knows how long. Guys
Okay,
are like,
I'm old now. Yeah,
guys
okay,
are looking at
cool.
me like,
yeah.
Stu would do this. What would Stu do? Would Stu do that?
Still.
Would Stu do that?
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
That's
Yeah,
just
all
easy.
right. We're starting to build
Okay.
back up now.
No, but that's absolutely true. Is this doable? Would Stu do this? I don't know, man. I think he would go here. I think he'd go 5. I think he'd go 6.
When they were doing that, I was praying like, oh gosh, I
hope Stu
I
does
hope
it.
he
Take it
don't
out.
jump
Take
this.
it
That
out.
one you were playing with me in Atlanta, dude, in 07. After that
jumping
quad,
over that tabletop?
over that backside, literally the
straight down.
backside of the tabletop
It was like straight down.
this steep. And I'm like, he's coming out of this corner and like triple quad and landing on the backside of that, and I'm like, I'd catch up to him, and then he'd do that. I'm like,
He ain't lying. I was like,
That jump was hard.
Get some.
Yeah, you were.
Get some.
I'm like, nope.
Watch this.
Nope. I'm like, I was too close to retirement, and I'm like, I've made it this far, and I just have to.
Man, he
But
about to have a kid.
I feel like going like Eli. That's the situation that he's in. He'll be able to rely on all of his experience and his strengths, or what he's learned throughout his tenure of being a professional SMX racer. But at some stage, he's going to have to get out of that comfort zone, and those are the weekends that are going to be tough for him.
It's been a couple years since Eli's strung together big stuff. He takes the safer route. He really does now. He's backed it down a little bit, you know.
But the knowledge and the experience goes a long way at this level, where you really don't have to always hang it out.
Hi, my name is Chaz. I'm from Washington. I have a question. So, you guys talk about pressure, stakes, all the stuff that's going on. And you talked about how Chase kind of lays it out sometimes with stuff in a corner. But Eli Tomac has proven under pressure. You guys call him the old guy. Who do you think is going to handle the pressure this weekend?
I think the problem with Tomac is just the math. I think we'd be put him right in here. The problem is he needs someone else to finish.
Yeah, he's relying on other misfortunes.
Yeah, it's just
He's
the
gonna
math.
need some help.
He needs
Which you
chaos.
mentioned on your podcast, a lot of that is the seeding. He missed so much outdoors. That probably cost him 4 or 5 points. And I think we'd have Eli right in this convo. You could argue in these first 2 rounds, he's been as good as anybody.
Seeding, he was too low in the seeding coming into the playoffs. And I was just trying to, on our podcast, just trying to make a point of it does matter when he's as good as he is, and you have the other 3 guys that are so good. You have to be up there. You just can't cough up those kind of points.
And he also suffered a little bit the double points weekend, right?
Yeah.
So it was a double whammy of losing more points when it mattered
Is
more.
next week quadruple points?
Maybe.
Stop it.
Where do you want to go? Flagstaff?
But it brings up a good, I guess, a point about like why you race the full season, and this is the first year where we're seeing like the seeding really matter, and a guy who's been amazing. Like this is probably some of Eli's best rounds is these last couple weekends, but it's like a little too late,
But you could play devil's advocate and you'd be like, well, he's riding that good because he's out of it.
Yeah, true.
There's no point.
For sure.
But
So,
as
same
far
with
as
Jet,
pressure,
too.
though, Jet's a champion, Chase is a champion. Eli, to me, they're on the level of all timers. The pressure is, they're fine, right? Like to me, anyways, as far as handling the pressure. Going back to your question, those guys are. Dude.
So you don't give anyone an advantage in a pressure situation tomorrow?
Not really, no. They're all champions, right?
I think Chase has the most to prove.
Yeah, I think Jet's got the advantage pressure-wise, I think. He's just done too much winning
respectfully,
lately.
don't
Chase
agree
Sexton
with
just
that,
won the 450
Don't agree with
title.
Did he?
Me or
Yeah, he's got I saw him.
No, he did.
Well,
By the way, Chase told me he doesn't care about the money. He just wants this trophy.
That's a lot
And
of
I
pressure
said,
right there.
$1 million? You don't care? Now, the trophy.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, the reason he's saying that because
What
he
you guys
knows
said, yeah.
he needs to show up and he needs to beat everyone that he's been beaten by in a championship that didn't get hurt.
I mean, at the end of the day, if he wants the trophy, it comes with the money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like I say, I want that trophy too. I just know $1 million comes along with it too.
I want the bag that's hanging off the side of it, too.
I want the bag.
JT, you want the $1
bag.
million or the trophy?
I'll take any of it. I'll take $50. I'll take
Hold
whatever.
on here. You know what's funny about this whole conversation, and this is the way it's been this entire time? We have barely spoken of Hunter Lawrence at all. Isn't that funny how this keeps funneling toward, and then we got Eli fever after the first round because he won the first moto. We are not
it's
mentioning
house money.
Hunter.
roll
This
the
is
tape,
house money
roll
for
the
Hunter,
tape
though.
from the
Yeah.
first
This
one.
is house money.
Let's roll the tape from the first podcast where I said
You
that
did say.
Hunter was going to be the dark horse of this
Yeah,
series.
but you're Australian. It's
Yeah,
like
but I
whatever.
could have said Jet.
Hey,
Coulda
the
said
Aussie
Jet.
says the Aussie's going to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
Like,
I truly think
Fair.
Hunter's playing on house money, right? Like there was not a lot of expectation. It's his first 450 season. Like win, lose or draw tomorrow night, everybody's gonna be like, "This was awesome, Hunter. This was awesome, right?"
Yeah.
He's the only guy that can go out and do whatever the hell he wants tomorrow night, and no one's
And
gonna
be
say
fine.
anything
Yeah.
other than this
Yeah.
was a great SMX World Championship for you.
I'm going to ask you a
That's a great place to be.
controversial question.
Really? Not you.
Hunter, do you guys? So he's never won a 450 motocross race.
Be
or
careful,
450 Supercross race, right? Does that last weekend double main SMX thing? Does that count as a premier class win?
For sure.
Like he beat
Yeah.
all of the best guys in the world.
Okay.
Tell me how it doesn't.
Would it have counted in an MX race if he went 3-1 for the overall?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or-
So
Yeah,
it would count? Yes, last week.
With everybody here,
I mean,
it would-
Right? I mean,
That
wins.
counts.
He won the overall, the format.
And that first,
Okay,
that
can
first
you?
moto-
That's a
can
premier
anybody
class
on-
win, yes.
Can anybody in here tell me who won the six?
I thought you had something better than that, dude.
Give me some Miller series. You're gonna make up something
Man,
that
so
nobody's
Go ahead.
ever heard
No, I
about.
want to hear
where I
it.
was going.
That was
I
that
know
was too
where
easy.
you're
Yeah,
going.
that was a softball. I need to fast
No,
pitch.
he's going to say that this doesn't have the legacy yet, and it doesn't mean enough yet because we're in the second year of this SMX World Championship. That's where he's going.
Well, that's his opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
understand.
we're talking about
I bet
like,
everyone on that gate who has never won a premier class win, and everyone that he was racing against last week would have loved to win that
and the
race.
check cashed.
I think you got to count the circumstances. He had Jet Lawrence and Eli Tomac
All over him. All over him.
If half the guys don't even race or care or try, and he hole shots, they were doing
Y'all
everything.
got
they
me
could.
bench
And they
racing,
had a
and I
full
can't
field. He had a
stand
full
bench
field.
racing.
They were all trying.
I fell into the trap.
If only Villapoto were here.
See, he he lets it fly. I
0
don't
for
like-
3. We got to wrap this up. We got weather coming in. Thank you. By the way, our show starts, Race Day Live's at 4:30 Eastern tomorrow. You fans will be here, so you'll be watching the bikes around the racetrack. Our pre-show at 9:30 on TV Eastern, 10 o'clock, 7 here. Gates drop. We're going to let you go because the weather's coming in.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us
Thanks,
for the podcast.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Yep.